Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, July 22nd. It is 6:19 right now. Market's going to open in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick. Then we can get started with our session for this morning. Let's see a couple of things here to update real quick. A few more things here to update on the page, and we should be good to go. All right, looks good. That's good. All right, cool. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. And we should be good to go. Up here. Something like that. Solid. All right, so I'll give a few minutes, guys, for people to make their way in. It's good so far. All right, solid. All right, so as people make their way in, I'm going to go ahead and mark up or identify the overall bias right now. So looking over at the retail sentiment, it is currently 55% short, indicating that 55% of retail traders are currently selling right now. So you want to do the opposite and buy. Looking over at the fundamentals, are currently up 103 points. So with that said, we have a slight but somewhat bullish bias. So I'm going to put over here for overall bias, slightly bullish. Looking over here at the current trend, we also have a bullish bias. Reason for that is because price is above the pivots and trend meter here is green. So with that said, this is going to be bullish as well. A few other things here to look at. Looking at the high-low continuation, it is not overlapping. You can see this high is higher than this one. So this is going to be present for a buy. For number 4, looking for high-low candle reversal. That is not present here on the 1 minute. Looking over here on the 10. It is not present. Okay, so looking at this for a buy, the only thing that's really not present is going to be the last two, high-low reversal and additional strategy confluence. But other than that, it looks pretty much fine for the most part. So let's see who's here. Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, July 22nd. It is 6:23 right now, California time. 8:23 Texas time. So if you guys haven't been with me this week, I'm on vacation right now in Texas. So it's a 2-hour difference. It's actually a lot later here, so it's nicer. But yeah, market's gonna open in about 7 minutes. So let's see who's here. Let me scroll up real quick and see who's made it so far. Morning B, morning Kenny, morning Peter, morning Jennifer, morning Fun Me, morning Steven. Let's see who else is here. Morning Bobby, morning Fahad, morning Marco, morning Akil, morning Maria, morning Ruin, morning Marlon, morning Ross. Thanks, Marlon. Yeah, it's different out here in Texas. It's hot. It's really hot. So I'm glad I'm only here for a couple of days, but it's super humid out here. I thought I was going to be in Austin, but I'm actually in Houston. So yeah, it's a little different out here. But it's nice. So I'm gonna go explore later today. Morning, Patricia. Morning, Fraser. Morning, Kevin. Morning, E. Morning, Cern. E said, how are you planning on doing today's breakout? Just a single enter or double? So probably just a single E. I have my trailing stop loss set. It's Friday. So keep that in mind, guys. Friday is usually one of the riskier days to trade, Friday and Monday. So I'm probably not going to double dip into a position. I'm going to see how the entry looks like in the next 6 minutes when the market opens. If it's like too big of a candle, then I'll probably wait for it to pull back a little bit. If it's a solid size candle and it's a pretty straightforward buy, for the most part, then I'll likely just take it, right? If it's a sell, I'm probably not going to take it because it looks like the confluence here indicating a sell. I mean, a buy. So if it's a sell, I'll probably take the buy either way, the opposite. But we'll see what happens in the next few minutes or so. Hey, Rosh, morning. Morning, Kenneth. Morning, Natasha. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going, Natasha. Natasha said, make sure you hit up the Galleria wall in Houston. Yeah, that's where I'm going to go either today or tomorrow. I think we're doing on this like ETV tour or something today. So depending on what we do. Oshi, okay, good to know. Marlon, I'm going to keep that in mind. Oshi. Yeah, thanks for the tips, guys. First time here in Houston, first time in Texas. It's kind of cool. It's a little different from Cali. I think the weather here is different. The downtown area is a little different too. Kind of reminds me of Chicago, but a little it's just hotter. Hey Matt, morning. Morning, Lisa. Mace said news at 2:45. Let me check that real quick. Thanks, Mace. I didn't even check the news today to see if there was anything going on. Let's see. So over here on Friday 22nd, there's news at 6:45. So that's something that we got to keep in mind. Hopefully that doesn't affect our breakout today. So I'll keep that right there. Thanks for the heads up. Market is going to open in about 4 minutes, guys. So we'll see shortly. Morning, Matt. Morning, Randy. Morning, Kenny. Yeah, Kenny said, don't forget to get a cowboy hat. I gotta get some boots too, right? While I'm at it. Let's see. So it looks like most of you guys are here already. So it's 6:27 right now, guys. Market's going to open in about 3 minutes. I'm kind of hoping that price does push down a little bit because I'm looking to take a buy. So I'm hoping that we either get a sell for the breakout and then we can take the opposite, or if we get a buy, it's cool too. But I do want it to pull back a little bit so that we can catch it on its correction back to the upside, because it's been pushing up for a while now. So this, yeah, ever since London session, it's been bullish. So it might be a bit overextended right now. So I kind of wanted to push down a bit, maybe have it retrace, and then we can catch it as it pushes back up. Because I think best case scenario, that'd be the case here. So we'll see in a little bit when the market does open. Hey, Shannon, morning. Thanks. Morning, David. Morning, Tody. Morning, everybody. Yeah, so hopefully everyone had a great trading week so far. I'm back and I was in profit already, so I didn't really make too much profit this week because of the market. Had a couple accidents early in the week and then made it back, and we'll see what happens today. It's been a choppy week. You guys have seen the market. It's not as it hasn't been as smooth, and it's normal because it is summer. So just keep in mind that the market does move in seasons. So with the summer season, market's kind of back and forth, and then it's not really moving super directional when we want it to, especially during open. I also looked at CNBC this morning. There was a couple things here that they posted. They said another mixed morning for stocks. It showed that pretty much all three major stock indexes, US30, S&P, and NASDAQ, they've all been kind of all over the place. So we'll see how this affects the market. You guys got to keep in mind that there's a lot of stuff going on around the world. The recession, interest rates going up. There's just a lot of factors affecting the market. On top of that, it is summer, so summer conditions don't help as well. So let's see. Yeah, no, Tony said mixed morning already, third day, but better than the previous two. It looks better today. Yeah, and I agree too. It's been pretty directional. So guys, market's going to open in about 30 seconds. I've already analyzed the overall bias. It's slightly bullish. Current trend is bullish as well. High-low continuation is present. You can see the low here. They don't overlap. High-low candle reversal. Looking at this right here, it's not present. Looking on the 10-minute, it's not present either. So the main things here that aren't going to apply are going to be the high-low reversal and then initial strategy confluence. Or actually, no, this is now present. It's now present because we have the variation V3 right here. All right, guys, so the market is now open. Let's see where it is going to bring us. I have a bias for buy today, so that's probably where I'm going to be taking this. Oh man, this candle here is huge though. So if this candle closes too big, I might have to like wait for it to pull back. So we're definitely looking for a buy here if we can get it. If not, oops, let me keep that up there. So this is not a strong green candle. You can see there's a big wick on the top side. We gotta see how it closes in the next 20 seconds. Yeah, so this is not going to be the entry here. This candle here, the wick's too big. The breakout. Yeah, definitely no entry off that. Let's wait for the next one. Zoom in a little bit. Man, it's weird trading on a smaller screen. I mean, this is like the biggest MacBook Pro screen, but it's so small compared to my desktop. It's hard for me to see. I got to zoom in a little bit. All right, if this closes as a strong bullish candle, this would technically be the breakout here. I'll probably enter it right away if it's not too big of a candle, and I'm gonna have my trailing stop loss anyway, so it's not going to be a huge deal. We got to make sure that it actually closes valid, right? If it doesn't, I'll just wait a bit. So looking at this right here, it's not closing as a strong green candle, it looks like. No, it's not. Too big of a wick. So we still got to wait for the next one. And it's fine if it pulls back a little bit, right? We kind of want it to pull back a little bit, so there's like leeway for it to swing back. But looking at everything over here, everything still lines up for a buy. So if we get a sell signal here, I'm probably going to do the opposite. Yeah, E said DXY is bearish. That's probably going to continue pushing. I'd rather have a reverse entry here. I agree too. E, same here. I'd rather it give us a sell and then we actually go the opposite way. So let's see how this closes here. We got about 20 seconds. If it closes strong bullish, this would be the entry candle here for the breakout. So we got to see how this candle here closes. Make sure it's not a big wick on top. About 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. It's not an entry. The wick's just too big. And this thing's really testing our patience right now. 6:33 right now. We still got 2 minutes until 6:35, which is the cutoff. So still no entry off it. We're looking for a strong green candle here, basically a green candle with little to no wick on the top side, or we're looking for a reversal here, basically a strong red candle with a red signal. We're gonna do the opposite and take a buy because everything here still lines up for a buy. The only thing we don't have is the high-low candle reversal, but that's only one. And even if we get this, the overlapping should be fine too, because we'll still have 3 confluences here. All right, so let's see if this closes as a sell signal, then the breakout's going to be a buy. So let's see. All right, so the breakout is a buy right here. I'm probably going to wait for it to swing back up for entry. Not in it yet. I'm going to wait for it to swing back up. So not in the position yet, waiting for it to go back up before we take entry. Because it's still, it's dumping right now. It's kind of big as well. So not in the position yet, guys. Hopefully you guys didn't enter yet. Just waiting for it to go back up from this point. If it doesn't come up, then there's not going to be an entry for us to take. Yeah, I think I'm gonna skip it, guys. So it doesn't look like we're gonna have an entry here because I was waiting for it to swing back up, but it didn't. It looks like it would have hit TP if we just took the sell, like the actual breakout in that direction. So just going back for the analysis here, this candle here closed kind of big. All right, I mean, it might come back up at some point, but yeah, just looking at this right here, this looks like it's going to possibly, and I wouldn't chase this drop right here. It looks like it might just swing back up. Maybe it'll come back up at some point, but I haven't taken the trade here at all. I saw that this candle kind of closed a little big, so I waited a little bit. I'm gonna wait. So this thing might swing back up. I might even FOMO to the trade and enter it later. But this candle here is just too big. Even this one right here was kind of big. So if you took the actual breakout was a sell right here. We were looking for a buy because we had the, and I'll just go over it. I'll analyze it real quick to show you guys what we were looking for. So with this right here, let me put up the breakout strategy. If you were to take the actual breakout without using the confluences right here, you're basically looking for an entry after 6:30 a.m. 6:30 was right here on this green candle right here. For this, when the market opened, we were looking for a strong green candle, right? For it to qualify for a buy for the breakout. That didn't happen. So what happened was we had a sell signal here, a strong red candle as well. And that would satisfy the requirements here for the breakout. We confirmed the bias. The bias was slightly bullish. It wasn't very strong, but it was slightly bullish. Let me take a look at the fundamentals real quick. Fundamentals weren't very strong for a buy. It's less than 100 points. Looking over here at the sentiment, it is somewhat bullish, but it's not over 60%, right? It's 56%. So with that said, there's this bullish bias, but it's not very strong. So we want a strong bias in order to identify, this requirement here. So with that said, we could still take this for a sell because it's not very strong, and it's also optional. So if you were to look at this here, this would be the breakout. Using the confluences here, this is where we would have determined whether we want to take a sell or a buy. Since this happened too fast and this candle was kind of big, I would have waited for it. That's why I didn't take the entry right away for the buy. And you can see prices pushing back up right here. Price might swing back up, but it's going to be, it's not going to be a smooth push up, right? That's why I was waiting for it to kind of pull down a little bit and then maybe swing back up so that we can make a late entry over here. But in this case, it didn't really, pull up like that. So I'm kind of tempted to catch it if it does come back up over here. I'll follow it and I'll see where it goes up from here. But I didn't take the trade right away. See as it pushes up right here. I'll just follow it. So here, just going back to my analysis here, the actual breakout played out. We were looking for it to swing back up for a reversal. And there he goes. It swings right back up into profit right there. I think if I should take it for a partial. No, I'm going to hold off on it. But yeah, there he goes. It pushes right back up into the profit. Yeah, so no breakout. Well, I didn't take the breakout, Steven. So technically no breakout. But it looks like it's swinging back up because the overall bias is still bullish. So I do expect it to come back up, but I didn't take the breakout today. So the breakout today, if you took the actual breakout, it would have been a full TP. If you took the reversal, it would have been a loss. So it just depends on which one you took. I didn't take any myself though, Steven. So I don't think you took one either because you're asking about it right now, right? Steven's asking, so no breakout today. Is it safe to take the buy? I wouldn't take it. I would just wait. Because the thing is, the entry already came and hit full TP. If this didn't come down and hit the TP down here for a sell, then yeah, I would have taken it as a swung back up. But the thing is, this already invalidated the trade because the actual breakout already hit full TP. So I would just sit it out, Steven. It was too risky of a trade to begin with. So, and it's Friday, so just keep that in mind. I'll keep looking for any other entries here. If you guys have any other questions regarding any of the strategies, or if you want me to go over this again or go over anything that you guys didn't understand, just let me know and I can go over it more in detail. But yeah, I mean, it did what we were looking for. It's just it dropped too heavy. If this didn't come down and hit this TP, then I would have entered here for a late entry. But obviously it didn't play out that way. So for me, I'm not in this breakout, because the actual breakout already hit full TP. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes up and hits this TP though, even though it's a late entry. So let's see. Yeah, May said waiting for news. It's too choppy. Yeah, John said Friday, I only take for 30 points because the breakout often doesn't make the full 50 points. Yeah, no, that makes sense, John. So it looks like it would have hit both ways. If you took the actual breakout, it would have hit your TP. And then if you tried to enter late over here, it looks like you could have technically taken it both ways, because actual breakout right here, full TP. And if you waited for it to swing up, like this is kind of what I was waiting for. Looks like it might hit TP right there as well. But I'm kind of glad I set out, because if I took it right away, I would have lost the trade. And then if I would have waited, I'd been fine. So let's see. Nice. Yeah. D said I managed to caught 472. So I'm going to call that a good Friday and head off to the charts. Going to be reviewing the previous mentoring sessions tomorrow to get this new breakout strategy down. Have a good weekend, everyone. Definitely do. So we'll see you on Monday. But yeah, if you guys haven't watched the previous mentoring session, we went over the strategy in detail. So if you guys haven't been following along for the week, basically what I'm doing now is I'm more focused on just taking the breakout, just taking one trade a day, taking it for a 2% risk. And then pretty much calling it a day. I was looking at the intraday entries, but I'm not really taking them because I don't want to be on the chart, all day. If you guys are wondering, like there was an entry right here for the intraday. So I'll mark it up right here. I did see this when I woke up, but it was too late. The time difference here in Texas kind of threw me off this morning. I woke up and I thought I was up late, but it was actually early because it's 2 hours ahead over here compared to California. But looking at the intraday strategy right here, this there was one that happened right here. So let me just show you guys real quick. So to identify this here, you're looking for an intraday entry, a valid K2 momentum signal, and a trend meter here that matches. So it's green and green. The candle is also green, so that makes it a valid momentum signal. With that said, we have an intraday entry right here. In order to confirm it, you want to confirm or identify the previous high lows. So you're looking over here at these two high lows, and you guys can see that they do not overlap, right? That's going to be the second requirement. They don't overlap. Or actually you're looking for a variation, which right here is a V3, and then either engulfing or another variation. It's an engulfing candle right here. So variation plus engulfing, this fits the requirements. For number 3, you want to confirm that they're not overlapping. They're not overlapping here. And then you would enter this for a buy entry for a fixed 500 pips. So if you were to take this trade applying the intraday strategy, I don't think this would apply because you're not supposed to take trades before 5, but I'm just showing you an example of like one that happened most recently. And you can see right there that it does hit full TP. So if you guys want to test this like outside the time parameters right here, you guys can, but I didn't see it, but it wouldn't fit the requirements either way, because this would have been at 4:30 and it was like 30 minutes before the the time limit right there. So all right, back to the 1 minute over here. Let me see if there's anything else. So this thing is still technically running. I didn't jump into it though. See how far up it is. It is up right now. And it's currently up almost like 300 pips, 230 right now. And we got news coming up right now shortly, guys, in a few minutes. Thanks, Shalon, for the heads up. Ease said, I'm surprised you didn't enter at the red momentum candle close. I thought you said you wanted that. So the reason why I didn't enter it was because it happened like in the last 5 seconds, right? E? Like that could have easily just swung right back up. If it was already a sell, like if it was like stuck in place, like for the whole candle, then yeah, I would have been looking to take it. But this thing here dropped so quickly, like it was kind of pushing down a little bit in the last 5 seconds. It pushed down. The reason why I didn't hop in right away was because you've seen it before where price will drop down and then on the last second it'll swing back up and there would be no sell signal there, right? So that's the reason why I didn't enter right away. We already knew the market was going to be kind of choppy today since it was Friday. So that's why I didn't want to jump in and then jump in too early, because I'm sure that's happened to a lot of people. And it's happened to me too, where like I'm waiting for it to provide the entry. And then at the last couple of seconds, it just ends up spiking the other way. there's no sell signal and I get screwed because I entered like way too early, right? So that's the main reason why I didn't take that trade there. If it was like 30 seconds in and it was already a red sell signal, and then I mean I wish I could go like second by second, or technically I could. Let's go over here real quick. So let's go over here to that same candle. The entry would have been right here, right? And we were looking to take an opposite entry. Let me go to the, I think we go to the seconds, right? Oh, here we go. The seconds, right? So let me mark up. It was at like 6:30. What time was that entry candle? Entry candle was 6:33. So basically from 6:33 over here, I mean, but we wouldn't be able to see it because we can't see it real time unless like we came and watched the replay. But all right, so basically from this candle to, see, this is where it kind of threw me off. So this is pretty much the minute candle right here, right? For that candle where we got the signal. This is where it kind of threw me off because price was dropping and we were waiting for it to confirm that momentum signal, right? So right here at the last like 17 seconds, right? This is where it actually started to drop. This is where the sell signal actually came up. We only had like about like less than 10 seconds to really think about taking the trade right here. So this is where the signal actually came up. Let's see. Patricia said you're on the 1 second chart. Yeah, that's correct, Patricia. I'm just trying to show E right here how like the signal came up like at the very last couple seconds. So like right here, there was no signal because price was kind of just bouncing back and forth, right? Price dropped a little bit. It just consolidated for a couple seconds. And then right here is where the actual momentum signal came up at the last couple seconds, right? At the 42-second mark, it started to drop. So like once it dropped below this point, this is where the actual signal came up for the sell at like 46 seconds. So you technically had like 14 seconds to really think about whether is this going to close as a sell momentum or if it wasn't, right? So this is why I wasn't I wasn't ready to enter right away because I was worried that if this got to the last second and it swung back up to this point right here, then that sell signal would have just disappeared. But if it was dropping, so say for example, this was dropping down here and price was already down here, like super far down, then at that point I would have been like, okay, it's fine, because at there, the sell signal wouldn't disappear. That was the main issue with me right here for this one. If that makes sense, E, for this candle right here, and see how big was it. And the thing with this right here is that right after this candle closed, it just started dumping super fast. So this candle right here was about 330 pips. As soon as it closed, it just dumped real quick. And that's why I didn't really have the opportunity to enter because I was waiting for it to retrace a little bit before it pushed up. And then I was waiting for it to come back up so that we can take the opposite entry right here. But the thing is, it never came back up. It just ended up waiting down below, right? It ended up hitting a TP like within a few seconds after opening the following candle. So that's the main reason why I didn't take it right away. Whenever I take these trades, I want to be sure about it. That's why I was more curious for it to either just give us a valid entry for a buy, or I was waiting for it to pull down a little bit and then come back up. But if it hits the TP for the actual breakout, then it would just invalidate the entire move. So instead of this right here entering late, it's pretty much just done with. Hey, Sharon, morning. Let's see, John said 3-minute pending, but it's also the news candle. Yeah, so there's a 3-minute entry over here. This is what John's looking for the daily. I probably would not take this for the daily entry though, because it is opposite. So let me just mark this up right here. And we'll look over the same requirements that we looked over earlier. So there's a couple of red flags here. Another red flag is that there's sessions right here. But looking over here at the confluences, so confluence checklist, For this, I'd probably do the opposite. Reason for that is because overall bias is bullish, so this doesn't apply. Current trend is bullish. There is no high-low continuation. There is no candle reversal multi, but there is a strategy confluence, so there's only one there. The only problem with this right here as well is that this candle is too big, right? So you have to, even if you were to enter this for the breakout, I'd wait for it to come back down. So for example, I'd be looking at it from right here. If you're looking to take the sell and then wait for it to come back down. Because if you guys remember, if this candle here is too big, typically price will go to the halfway mark, like right here, before coming back down, or the full candle. But with this case right here, since the requirements or the confluences are a bit off, you could have done the opposite and just gone for the buy instead overall. And that would have hit full TP already. So you guys can see right here, this would have hit the full TP if you took the opposite. So the daily right here is what John was referring to. But since the confluences here don't align, the opposite would have been a better opportunity to take since we're looking for a buy. But it looks like John actually hit his TP though. So John said he took it for 30 points. And he only does 30 points because it's Friday and he got out. So nice work, John. So let's see, other than that, nothing else right now. Let me go and just take this off right here. Clean up the chart. And mark up the high lows over here. So if you guys have any questions and want me to cover anything, just let me know. What's up, Mike? Let's get right here. Do say, gotta go for conference. Thanks, Sean. Have a great weekend, everyone. Definitely will see you on Monday. Let's see, Arash said, if I'm not wrong, US30 has correlation with EU, right? I don't know exactly, Arash, but possibly. I mean, I haven't really looked at it that way, so if anyone else can confirm, possibly. Ruin said, anyone else notice that TradingView has a delay on time? My time doesn't align with Sean's time, and TV doesn't align with the notifications I'm getting on my phone. I'm not getting a delay on mine, but I'm not sure if anyone else is. Does anyone else have any issue with TradingView? I know it's kind of off from MT4, but I'm not sure if it's actually delayed. See, so a couple profits over here. It looks like Scotty actually took it on its way back up. He locked in 2,212. So nice work, Scotty. Kevin over here, currently up pretty heavy. So he took a lot of these trades. He actually took it on the swing back up as well, that bias. So solid work right there, Kevin. Madhu over here, he took the swing back up. So a lot of you guys actually waited for it to swing back up. So Madhu over here, he identified, he's waiting for it to come back up. He took it here for a late entry, 635, locked in 4,191. Total profit of 5,313 for the day. It looks like he took a couple here during pre-market as well at 534 and 537. So great work right there, Madhu. Kevin over here again, 97. Nice work, Kevin. Charles over here posted his profits as well. So it looks like a lot of you guys here actually waited. So a lot of you guys didn't enter right away. You guys waited for it to swing back up, but you chased it with a trailing stop, or you either had a TP set. So Charles over here also waited for it to swing up. He entered at 634, locked in a total profit of 348 for the day. Nice work, Charles. David over here as well. Yes, a lot of guys here actually waited. David here too. He waited a little bit, locked in 40 bucks. Nice work, David. Uh, Nelly over here, 5,313. Nice, nice. Yeah. So Kevin over here said smash that push back up. So Kevin actually waited, and Nelly waited. And they both locked in some pretty heavier profit. Ross over here as well. Looks like Ross's entries. Yeah, Ross did the same exact thing. He waited here a little after, and then he locked in a total profit of 6,564 for the day. Nice work, Ross. Yeah, so I'm glad a lot of you guys here were patient and waited for it to swing back up, because you guys did take advantage of that push to the upside. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that, but you guys overall did pretty good with having the discipline of waiting for that to swing back up. So other than that, let me see if there's anything else here. John said his trading view in MT4 matches with no delay. I can't really tell on mine because I'm on my travel one. So I can't really see. Whoops. Oh crap. I didn't even realize the dude, I accidentally, because I'm on the small screen, I accidentally clicked on the buy and sell button here. So I took like 3 trades. I made a little bit of profit. I took a loss, and then I took, hey guys, yeah. So guys, I actually, because I'm using let me see if I can put this out here. You guys can see my screen. Let's see, where's my camera at? Okay, so I got this small screen right here. You guys could see this. I got this small screen right here. That's like my secondary screen where my MT4 is. And the screen's kind of small, so I have my MT4 that's right next to like everything's on the screen. It's like the chat, the Zoom, like everything except my trading view. Because you can see here is just my trading view, and it's so close to my screen here. So when I was clicking between the screens, I was actually hitting the little toolbar for MT4 and actually entered like 3 trades. I didn't realize it until I looked at my social trader tools. It looks like I took, I took a loss, and then I took a win, and then I took another win. So I took 3 trades here without actually. Yeah, good thing that I spotted it because I pulled out. Let me check this real quick. Um, yeah, so thankfully it swung me back into profit. So yeah, I took a loss, and then a win, and then another win. So I made a small profit overall. I mean, profit like 200 bucks, but I wasn't supposed to take those trades. Damn, this is why I don't like trading on the small screen. I might have to get a third screen for just the MT4. You know, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to I made like 200 bucks. It's not a big deal. I need to close my MT4 right now, so I don't do this accidentally. All right, so I closed my MT4. But yeah, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. Thankfully, it played out for me. So I had 1 loss, 2 wins, and then profit about 200 bucks across my accounts. Thankfully, I had the trailing stop running, so it actually trailed my entry. If you guys are not familiar with the FTMO toolbar, it's like, let me see if I can show you guys. Most of you guys know what it looks like, but see. Well, if you guys know what it looks like, it's like a huge toolbar and it covers like almost like a big chunk of your left side of your screen. So if you guys have that and there's a lot of stuff blocking it, it's easy for you to click out of the way. It's not like the DOM where it's a small button. It's a huge buy and sell button for. But I closed my MT4, so I don't make that same mistake. Thankfully, I had a trailing stop, so it actually trailed it. First one hit stop loss, but the other two hit, so brought it back into profit. Let's see, PC said 10-minute breakout, maybe forming. Let me check real quick. 10-minute over here. So yeah, this would be the breakout right here. We don't take the breakout on Fridays though, because if this trade runs for too long, it might get caught in it over the weekend. But yeah, if you guys remember this, typically I think you're the one that mentioned it. When taking the opposite for the daily, you can only go for like 100 pips, right? This might be an opportunity to enter the other way. So for the daily right here, we'll pull up the confluences again. So no entry yet, but if it does swing back up, it might be opportunity for it to make a late entry. So looking over here at the overall bias is bullish. So this is going to fit the requirements. Current trend is bullish. It's not going to fit the requirements. High-low overlapping doesn't fit the requirements. Reversal Volta time frame doesn't meet the requirements, and additional confluence, this meets the requirement right here. So this might be a possible entry opposite direction. I'm not going to take it though. I already closed my MT4. I had a couple accidents today. My screen here is too small. It's not necessarily too small. It's just I have too much stuff going on my second screen. Let me show you guys if I could find that toolbar thing. Oh, well, it's not. Okay. All right, so this is what the toolbar looks like. So you guys can see how easy it is to accidentally click buy or sell right here, right? So this is kind of what happened to me. My other screen right here, it covers this completely, the buy and sell button. So when I have like the chat over here, and then I have Telegram and everything on this side, I accidentally clicked this when I was on the side of my screen, and that's why it entered me a sell or a buy. Thankfully, it worked in my favor, but it could have ended up real bad. So if you guys are using this, I probably have a dedicated screen for it just because it's so big, it gets in the way. But this is how I accidentally entered trades because it's so big right here. And then I had Telegram like right next to it right here. So whenever I was pulling Telegram up and I was dragging it around, I would accidentally click one of these. But thankfully it did, work in my favor. So other than that, let me see if there's any other questions here to cover. Trading view right here. Oh, so here's the daily. Here, take the daily in the opposite direction. It's now pushing up. I'm not in this position, but we did mark it up because I was showing that there's an opportunity to take the opposite direction here for the daily if you wanted to. See some more profits over here from Charles. So Charles over here has all wins for the day. You can see right here at 634, he took it for a late entry, hit his TP, made 348. Then he took some more buys right here as well. Total profit of 828 for the day. So nice work, Charles. Anything else here that I'm missing? I think that's it for right now. But yeah, just keep in mind, guys, that for the daily here, we typically don't take this on a Friday because you don't want to get caught in the position that as we get closer to like market close. So this was the requirements for the daily here. And if you were to take it, I would use the trailing stop as well. So here's the thing. Let me show you guys another thing because a lot of you guys are asking about this as well. So the trailing stop function that I was just talking about earlier is this right here. So like, for example, I have this set to 200 points or no, I put 2000 points here, but technically it's only 200 pips. So for this right here, whenever I enter, so I hit buy or sell, it starts to trail it after 200 pips. And that's how I got out of the trades earlier because it trailed it. The first one hit stop loss, which my CP stop loss was automatically set at about 3,000 or 4,000. But the trailing stop over here, there's two other trades. So it stopped me out in profit about, let's see, stopped me on profit about 1,000 and the other one for 2,000 as it continued to move in that direction. Yeah, let me see this real quick. Yeah. Goes the same for all my accounts here. See this real quick. See the initial. All right, so I'll just post a separate here. I'll show you guys the accidental. These trades aren't going to count, but I'm just going to show you guys where the accidents kind of happen. Okay, so here's the here's just one of my accounts. I'm not going to post all of them because these trades aren't going to count. Obviously, they're just accidental trades that I took. So I accidentally clicked it right here at 634. So this is when price is dropping. And I was telling you guys that I was going to wait for it to come up. I accidentally clicked to enter the trade. So I took the loss right there. But for this one over here, when it was coming back up, this is where I was waiting for it to come back to entry point. And I took the trade. Well, I didn't take it purposely, but I accidentally clicked on buy. And then it took the entry and then it closed me out in profit as it pulled back. That's why the profits here are a little off. They're not like anything that's set in place because the trailing stop is what chased it. So for example, right here, this was up in profit about maybe like 300 or 400 pips whenever I accidentally clicked it, but the trailing stop here followed it and just pulled me out when it pulled back in retracement. And then same with this one right here. I think that's just what I was accidentally clicking earlier. And it dropped back down and it dropped pretty heavy. That's where the bigger kind of drop happened right here. And then as it pulled down right here, as it swung back up, it pulled me out in profit. And that's how I locked in that. But none of these trades here were done on purpose. They're all kind of accidental trades that I clicked on. But that's the good thing about having the trailing stop, because the trailing stop is going to help you. It's just going to pull you out basically when you have this setting right here set up. So it just chased my trade and then it pulled it out in profit. And this is one that Ross actually kind of gave me a heads up about because he's been using it. He uses it with, I think, do you use this 200 pip stop loss as well or trailing stop as well, Ross, or do you use something tighter? But, I got this trick basically from Ross. He's the one that kind of went over it with me during his mentoring session. If you guys sat in on it, me and Ross had a one-on-one. And then Ross told me how he just uses trailing stop for like almost every trade. And it pretty much just guarantees him profit. So nice. So Ross actually uses a tighter trailing stop. He uses 50 or a 150. So that's actually even tighter. If I had a 150 trailing stop on mine, I probably would have locked in a lot more profit because this would have this pulled back at least 200 pips. So this would have been an extra 150. So this would probably be around like 2,000, and this would probably be closer to like maybe 4,000 in profit if I had a tighter trailing stop. Nice. No, that's good work. So other than that, back to the charts over here. Let me clean this up a little bit. I don't think I really see anything here. There was a V1 that came up right here, but it's too close to the sessions, it looks like. So this V1 could have been taken, but it was really close to the sessions. John said tight stop will knock you out of your trade too often. Yeah, and I agree too, John. That's why I have it set at 200. Sometimes it'll work good. Like if the market's super volatile, it's good because it'll spike down and your stop loss will be in profit. But if the market's kind of moving slow or it's like spiking back and forth really quickly, then yeah, you might get knocked out of a trade. But that's like one thing that you guys can use too. If you guys want to take like these smaller 1 minute trades and you guys want to cover your risk, you can always just do what Ross is doing. If you have it set to like 50 pips, you're like automatically going to get pulled out almost every time, either at break even or in profit. So it just depends on you. But if you guys are doing that, I wouldn't use the copier, because then if you do that, you might get screwed because it happens too quickly. Nice. So PC actually took partial profit of 500 pips. Solid. Charles says he's done for the day. Let's go back to the 10 over here. So for this right here, well, this trade is still running the daily. PC is asking if this could be a possible snipe. So let me go over here real quick and I'll just turn on the SR. Yeah, there's structure right here. So yeah, this could be a possible snipe. However, depending on like what you would be using, like if you were to use the confluences here for a snipe, I'll put the snipe strategy right there. And as you guys can see, there's a lot of different strategies you can apply depending on which one you guys like to apply. There's a lot of different options there. So if you were to apply the snipe and use confluences, I don't use this confluence checklist for everything, but I like looking over it to see if like this could help with taking, opposite trades. So confirming overall bias, it's bullish. So this like with that, then there, it's not going to fit the requirements to be overall bullish. That doesn't mean the trend is bullish as well. You're looking for a sell here, no high-low continuation. Right here, no candle reversal. So if you were to take this for a snipe, but you looked at the confluences here, these here wouldn't necessarily line up. So if you were to take this here, let's put this down here real quick. For a snipe entry, looks like it'd be in some massive drawdown and almost a stop loss. So if you were to take the opposite trade, yeah. So if you were to take the snipe right here, it'd be like really close to stop loss. But if you're to do the opposite, like how we've been doing for, these other strategies, it would have been in profit. So if you're to do something opposite like this, I would use a trailing stop, because you typically don't want to develop the habit of taking opposite trades. You only want to take the actual trades if it does meet the requirements. So if it meets the requirements plus the confluences are checked off. So like, for example, if this bias was bearish and we take all this stuff off, then, obviously I would take the sell. But since all of the confluences don't align, there's only one confluence here for the actual strategy. I could have possibly taken the opposite, but use the trailing stop. So as it pushed up right here, I would either reach my full TP or I would get stopped out in profit. One thing also that I want to show you guys for the trade manager, let me open this up again. So here's with this right here, you set your stop loss and you set your TP, plus you set a trailing stop. That's what I use. I use all three. So when I do use this tool and I enter a trade, I have a trailing stop, so I guarantee profits almost every time. And then on top of that, I have my TP. So I could either reach full profit or I can just get stopped out in profit with the trailing stop here. This trailing stop will take over the stop loss. So you initially have a full stop loss, but as it pushes in profit, your trailing stop will follow it. So I think it's a pretty good tool if you guys know how to use it properly. So other than that, back to this opposite daily. The opposite daily is still technically running right now in profit. And I'd be more inclined to taking that one if I was to take a trade right now, because the bias is so strong for a buy. And we do expect it to continue pushing up. Let's go over to the fundamentals real quick and see if it's still bullish. I think it's very bullish now. Actually, it's not too much. It's only up 46 points. So it's still pretty neutral. Looking over here at the retail sentiment, still about the same as well. 56% short. Yeah. So not really much there. This is still running. There's nothing really much here on the 1 minute. Gotcha. Yeah. So Ross said if it's moving fast, he does 50. Yeah, so you guys can adjust the trailing stop as well, depending on how you guys want to apply it. Randy said there's a 5-minute V3 coming up. I think this candle here might be too big though. I think the max for this is 750 pips, right? Five-minute. So yeah, looking at the V3 right here, this is a V3. Confirm overall bias, it's bullish. Confirm the high-low indicator, there's a low right here. It's confirmed with an opposite green candle, so that fits all the requirements there. Pending momentum, which is currently running. Minimum stop loss of 500 pips on the higher time frame, max stop loss. Actually, no, this would be an okay V3 here. I mean, it's too late for me to enter, and I closed my MT4 already, so I can't enter it if I wanted to. But yeah, there's a V3 right here that's currently running. A couple of things here that you might want to look at. Confluence checklist again. Overall bias is bullish, so that's okay. Current trend is bullish, that's okay. Trend continuation is overlapping. Yeah, it overlaps. So that's going to be one that's knocked off. High-low reversal, multi-time frame, go on the 10. See if the low is a green candle. It's not. So that's going to knock it out as well. Additional strategy confluence. That isn't really met either because price is below. So with that said, this is like an iffy trade because the thing is, if this was to apply, then it would be good for a buy. Vice versa, if you incorporated this, then this would be opposite because bias would be in the opposite direction. Nice. Yeah. Natasha said I took the V3 on the 5-minute, but got stopped out for a small profit. So Natasha actually took this V3 right here and she trailed her stop and she got pulled out for a small profit. So nice work, Natasha. I think if you guys ever take an opposite trade, well, I mean, this isn't an opposite trade, but in general, like if you're trading on Friday or if you're taking an opposite trade, it'll always be safe to use a trailing stop loss if you do have the tool. If not, manually move it in profit. So for example, right here, if it goes up to like 200 pips, which it did. So this is how my trailing stop loss works. When it moves up to 200 pips, it moves my stop loss in profit. And then as it continues to move up higher, this is going to be my stop loss right here, right? It just trails it. So as it continues pushing up higher and higher, see how I got to this highest point right here? My stop loss was now at this point. So if price pulls back, it just stops me out automatically in profit. Or if it doesn't, it just keeps pushing up higher. And then as it pushes it up higher, it just trails it higher and higher. And this would be my stop loss. So if that was the case and price pulled back, I would have guaranteed about 120 pips, which if I'm using an 8 lot, so 8 lot times 120 pips, it's basically guaranteed profit of 960. So that's basically how I locked in this profit right here. These were trailing the stop. So like as price continued to move up, it just moved the stop loss with it. And then it just pulled me out in profit as soon as it pulled back. This one actually hit my stop loss, but it's fine. Happens. But these are all accidental trades, so they're not going to count as trades for today. So let's see if there's anything else here. Oh yeah, Bobby. Sorry, I saw your question earlier. Let me scroll up because I did see you put that earlier. My bad. Bobby said, just using the momentum and trend meter and forward testing paper trade. Sean, this is amazing. Are there any drawbacks to just using them? Only drawback I've seen, boss is showing up at work. Yeah, no, Bobby. So that's actually the original strategy that I used to apply. Like when I first started trading or started putting together these K2 strategies, that was literally the only strategy I would apply. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So I have a tool here, or let me see. I actually have a back testing script where I have the data for that. So if you were to take every single trade that you just mentioned, so this is the performance list right here. So I actually have the percentage of, let's see where the win rate's at. So if you were to take every single trade, like literally every single trade, you'd have like a 55% or a 52% win rate on the 5-minute time frame. So you still have a positive win rate if you were to apply every single entry. But the thing with, and I'll just show you all. Let's drop this down so you guys can focus on just that. So this is like one of the first strategies that I applied. It's a good strategy, but so here's the drawdown. The drawdown is that you're going to incur losses, right? If you take every single trade, you're going to have a 52% win rate. But, and you can try different time frames too. If you want to apply the 10-minute, where's the win rate at? This has a 50% win rate, right? It just depends on like what time frame you're trading on. The main drawdown is that you're going to incur losses. That's why we have the confluences that we add to it. So if you add the confluences, you can increase the win rate. This is basically just, it's like taking every single trade without factoring news, without factoring time, without factoring anything. It's just the average, the strategy in general. So here on the 30-minute, same thing. And this is pretty much used on like whatever asset that you'd like to trade. Like if you wanted to trade the 1 minute, the way that I would trade before is I would find the one with the highest win rate, and then I would just automate the entries. Like for the 1 minute, have 56% win rate, which you have to take every single trade. If you wanted to apply this something else on a different asset, like say, like the NASDAQ, because I know that's something that you guys like to apply. The win rate for this is 59%. So before, when I used to trade forex, what I would do is I would go down to every single pair. I would get every strategy that has at least like a 60% win rate, and I would just trade those pairs. So back to your question, Bobby, it does work. But the main downside is that you'll incur losses. So you'll have this is a baseline 59% win rate if you take every single trade. But if you're to add requirements like trade only in the direction of overall trend, not just one, then you can increase this win rate. It's all about probability. That's why I know all these strategies work, because I have an actual test here. Like I have a back testing script that tells me raw data here that shows that it is profitable if you take every single trade. The problem with a lot of people is they don't take every single trade, right? They get very picky with which trade they want to take, or they're only able to take certain trades. And that's why they don't have this win rate. But this is just for the trend meter and momentum. So you can see right here how it automatically plots on the chart. Like this is a valid entry, full TP. This is a valid entry, full TP. This is a valid entry, stop loss, valid entry, stop loss, etc., without using any biases. So yeah, the strategy works fine. I mean, but if you want to increase your win rate, you just have to add some requirements to it. But if it works for you, Bobby, continue using it, right? That's what I always recommend for people. Like just find a strategy that works good for you, that you're comfortable with applying. And then just keep applying it. It's the only way to get better at it. So, all right, B said done for the day. Got to go to work. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Sean. Have a great weekend, everyone. Yeah, definitely, B. So we'll see you on Monday. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else here. Natasha said, I like the 5-minute chart. I get killed on the 1 minute. Yeah, if the 1 minute's too fast for you guys, go on the 5-minute or 3-minute or 10-minute. It's really up to you, just figuring out what works for you and mastering that type of entry. Randy said he took the high low on the 1 minute. Let's go back to the 1 minute over here. And he reached a full TP. Looks like the high low that he took was this one right here for a buy. So this is the high low entry that Randy took right here for a quick buy. He went for 100 pips. And it did hit a TP on that next candle right there. So nice work, Randy. PC said, still listening in my car. What if you add additional confluences for the third and fourth pivot? So I don't have the backtest script for that. I have to upgrade, make a different script for that, PC, but I'm pretty sure it'd be higher. So that's what I was referring to earlier. So like, for example, if you have that backtest, well, I mean, you guys don't have the script for that, but I have it and I have the data for it. If you have like a 59% win rate, if you add another confluence, that's going to help it And the pivots are a better, is a good confluence because you're trading the direction of trend. You basically have a double confirmation of trend. So if you were to add that, it might increase win rate maybe a couple percentage points, maybe 5 to maybe up to 10%, depending on like which time frame you're trading on. Because if you guys look here, so if you guys look at the trend meter here and you look at the pivots, if they align, so for example, there's a lot of entries here. If they align like this one right here, full TP, right? This one right here, full TP as well. This one right here, another full TP. This one right here, they're like, if you include that, it increases your win rate dramatically. Like, yeah, you're going to run into losses, but if you're trading with a 1-to-1 risk to reward, which is typically how this strategy is applied, as long as you have a higher than 50% win rate, you should always be in profit at the end of, you know, any period, whether it be weekly, monthly, yearly, etc. You guys can see how many wins here. So for example, if you're taking every single trade here, and then here's one loss, right? So if you took every trade within this period right here, this is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades, 6 wins. That's 90. Let's see. 6 divided by 7. It's an 86% win rate just within this period right here. And if you're taking each trade here for about, 3% risk. So 3% risk and they all win times 6. That's an 18% gain. You have one loss minus 3%. Still total profit of 15% gain within this little period right here. So just, something to keep in mind. There's always going to be ways to improve the strategy. So you can have a baseline of the intraday strategy, and then you can add to it. That's kind of what I'm doing here. We have the intraday strategy, and then I have this confluence list right here. And this will incorporate what you just referred to, PC, overall bias, trend, high-low continuation, candle reversal, additional strategy confluence. They all align to improve the strategy. So if you have a 59% win rate, this will probably add another 5%. So you add these two, it's probably like another 10%. So now it's 66% win rate. You add this, another maybe 3 to 5%, etc. PC said, what two for the 5-1-20 do you recommend? 250 pips. That's something that you'd have to test and figure out. Like that's how I figured out the sweet spot for the breakout, right? It's just testing to see how far the pips actually move around that period. For the 5-minute, it just depends on like which time frame or what session you're trading in. Let me just clean this up a little bit. That's the 3-minute. Here's the 5-minute. It depends on what time frame or what session you're trading in. Because if you trade here during US and you're going for 250 pips, you can see that it might be a little too close, right? You go to 250 pips, this might stop you out before it hits your TP. So you might want to use 500 pips. Because if you're to use a 500 pip TP stop loss, then you have enough cushion to breathe within the trade. But this doesn't apply the same way during Asia session, right? If Asia session market's all slow, you go over here to, where's Asia session? Right here. So this is Asia session right here, right? Or this right here. This is like middle of Asia session. If you wanted to go for 250 right here, this might work out better for you. Or it might not. It just depends. I wouldn't even trade this during Asia. It's just the movement is a little different. There's actually no trend here. You can see the trend meter here is kind of like all over the place. So I would probably skip that. But looking at like Asia session right here, sometimes it moves fast, sometimes it doesn't. So 500 pips will work there. If you traded even earlier right here, would have been the same way. But it would have taken forever for that trade to hit. Like, for example, if you're doing 500 pips on this, this would take, you'd be holding on to this for a while, for almost 2 hours. So if you were to apply this, I would initially put your stop loss at the previous swing. So like, for example, right here, if you were to take this, because this is how the strategy is supposed to be applied. It's just a little more difficult because the US30 is a different type of beast. If you're trading US like forex pairs, it's easier to put your stop loss at the previous swing. But you can see here that the swings are very erratic. Sometimes the swing will only be like 200 pips. This would be way too tight because it'll hit your stop loss. You got to cover the spread. You can move it to this one. It's still kind of tight. The next one would be down here. It's like a huge difference. You go from like 200 pip stop loss to 800 pip stop loss. But if you were to have this at 800 pips, looks like this might have been the better one versus the other because the pullback right here would have stopped you out. But if you held on to it, it would have hit your TP eventually. So it's all going to be a trial and error phase where you guys got to figure out what the sweet spot is. I don't trade 5, so I don't know what the movement is. I know what it is on the 1. Like on the 1, you can easily pick up like 100 pips for TP. And then on the 10, you can easily pick up 500 pips. The 5, it's going to be a little different. You have to play around with it to figure out what works best for it. Let me see what other questions we have over here. Karen was identifying a snipe, but she said, never mind, because the momentum signal was opposite. Let me see if there's anything else here. All right, I think there's no more questions for right now. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. What I'm going to do here on the 1 minute is I'm going to go back and draw up the areas of liquidity. And then we'll see if there's anything else that you guys can take before we wrap up this session for the week. So if you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to look for any possible scalps here. And then wrap it up for the week. Here goes the 5 minute, 1 minute, and I think that's it for these high lows. All right, so I marked up the high lows over here. Looks like there's a shift in trend. So it looks like it's kind of bearish now. Trend made here kind of turn red for a bit. The pivots here are starting to swing to the downside as well. So it looks like trend might be shifting. Looking over at the overall bias, it's currently still 56% short. So with that said, this here is still pretty neutral because this is indicating a buy. Fundamentals are neutral, but the trend is bearish. So with the retail sentiment lightly bullish, trend being lightly bearish, it's pretty much neutral. There's no direction right now. And if you look at the current direction of price, it's actually ranging from this point and this point right here. So price is in a range. As price continues to squeeze, it's going to break out one way or the other. You're just waiting for that confirmation. So for example, if it breaks above, you're looking for the retest and then continuation, and vice versa. If price breaks below, retest, continuation. But that hasn't happened yet. So other than that, nothing really here to take on the 1 minute. There is a V1 right there that came up. It's like it already hit TP though. or it's on its way down. Yeah, so it's on its way to TP right there, possibly. And you guys can use these confluences for identifying entries for this too. So if you were to look for a V1 or something like this, you're basically looking at overall bias. Bias is currently neutral. So a lot of these things here won't apply. If it's neutral, I wouldn't necessarily knock it out. I would just ignore this. So this just wouldn't apply for this analysis here. The current trend is bearish, so that's going to be applicable. High-low continuation, it's overlapping, so this wouldn't apply. Candle reversal multi time frame. Looking at this right here, I don't think there would be one on the 10. It's a green candle, so it doesn't apply. So for this right here, additional strategy confluence, that doesn't apply there. There's not very many confluences here for a sell. The only confluence is that we have the trend indicating a sell right here. So if you guys wanted to use this to trade opposite, I mean, you guys could have technically taken this for, instead of a sell, you could have taken it for a quick 100 pips the opposite direction for a buy, and it would have hit your TP because it did push up at least 170 pips. So just something to keep in mind. I mean, whenever you guys want to take a trade, you should always look at the confluences to determine, you know, whether it's a safe trade or not. If you want to take the opposite direction, you can do that as well, but just make sure to use a trailing stop or to pull out really quickly. Because for example, here, if you took this for 100 pips, you would have hit your TP, but if you held on to it, you'd be in drawdown now. Not a lot, but you'd be in drawdown. So that's the most recent thing that came up. See, question from E. E said, I may start using a trailing stop for scalps. Not sure what would be the best, 5 pip or 7 pip. Just one of those slightly missed the 10. What do you think? I think it depends on like the volatility. So like what Ross mentioned before, when it's very volatile, he uses 50 pips, which would be 5 points. I think you mean 5 points, right? Not pips, because if your trailing stop was 5 pips, it'd be too tight. It would probably pull you out really early. So I wouldn't use 50. So if the market is volatile, like what Ross was mentioning, 50 might be okay. The only problem is the spread, because the spread is going to be about like, it's like, or actually, I don't know, it depends on the spread. So if it's pushing for a while, if it's like very volatile, then you should be fine with that 50. You know, what I would recommend is to just test it out, because you're going to start to see how it moves. Like it sounds like a good idea right now using 50, but when you take it and if it keeps stopping you out at break even, you're going to be pretty pissed off, right? You'd be like, okay, I should increase it a bit higher, because a lot of cases it'll stop you out in profit at break even, and then it'll drop right after. And you're like, damn, if I had my trailing stop a little wider, it would have kept you in the trade. So that also reminds me, I might just change mine a little bit too. I have it kind of wide at 200. I might change it to maybe like 100. And then maybe I can just re-enter trades if I end up getting pulled out too early. So you can play around with it, but yeah, maybe use 50 as a baseline. And then from there, if you need to increase it, increase it. If you need to decrease it, decrease it. It's all gonna be trial and error, figuring out what the sweet spot is. I just started using the trailing stop, so I'm not too familiar with like what the sweet spot is for the trailing, but the 200 has been okay for me. It's been able to like help me out even like with slippage. So it pretty much guarantees me profit almost every time I take a trade. And it takes away the greed factor too. Yeah, E said also trailing stop of 50 would go to break even at 50 profit, not 15. Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what happens. So once you go, so I'm going to show you guys an example of like what E was just referring to. So say, for example, you wanted to take this V1 right here, right? And then your TP stop loss is like 500, right? So say if you were to take this the opposite way and you took the buy there. So see how price pushed up right here? Your trailing stop would have already pushed up and it would have just taken you out at break even. Or let me see if I can find another example here. I just need to find a strong candle where it doesn't like retrace at all. But yeah, basically this would be your trailing stop. So say if price follows it, this would be your stop loss. And you can see how tight it is, right? So if the market's super volatile, like say, for example, right here, it's pushing up. If it's super volatile, it's going to be chasing it. So as soon as it pulls back, it's going to stop you on like basically at break even. For me, I have a 200 pip stop, trailing stop. This is my trailing stop. So when it pushes up, my stop loss is still down here. And as it continues to push up, it just follows it. That's how my trailing stop works. But then again, mine might be a little too wide because I might be like super heavy in profit right here. And then if it pulls back, I'm at break even, but it does give me that cushion. So maybe 150 might be a little better, but I mean, who knows? I got to keep playing around with it. This is barely like my second week using a trailing stop, so I'm not familiar with it yet. But as I continue to get better with identifying the range, I'll figure out the sweet spot is eventually. Yeah, exactly. E said, so I would have had to have went 10 pips in order for it to move 5 in profit. Yeah, that's exactly what happens, E. Yeah, Ross says 150 is great. I might change mine to 150, then that might be a good sweet spot. I think 200 might be a little too close. I've closed my MT4 though, because I don't want to FOMO into any trades. So I'm not going to be able to fix that yet. I'll probably be able to do that on Monday once we come back for the market open. Yeah, E said 150 even for 100 pip scalps is long or longer trades. Yeah, and that should be fine. E. I think your 50 pip stop loss would be good for the 1 minute entries. So that if you're going for these 1 minute scalps, the 50 pip stop loss would work for that. But if you're going for anything more than like your TP would have to be more than 150 because it just wouldn't make sense, right? If you have a 100 pip TP, but your trailing stop is 150, your trailing stop's never going to work because you're going to be pulled out in profit before it even reaches that point. Yeah, it kind of cancels each other out. It's like you don't even have a trailing stop at that point. But yeah, 50 might be good if you're taking these riskier trades. Like if you're taking these trades like what Kevin's doing, he's trading in both directions, then you can do a 50 pip trailing stop and that should be perfectly fine. But other than that, guys, it's 7:41 right now. So it's about like less than 20 minutes till 8. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, it looks like we'll be wrapping this up for the week. I already closed my MT4, so I'm not looking to take any trades. But if there's anything you want me to cover, any strategies that you're looking at right now, just go ahead and put your questions in the chat. I can answer whatever you guys need help with. Otherwise, I think it'd be a good time to just wrap it up for the week. I don't know if there's any other news for today, but I think that's it. Yeah, it's all the news for today. But it is Friday, so you're going to start to see the market moving kind of funny around mid-market. So yeah, no problem, Arash. So I'll see you back here on Monday. Let's see, E's asking, is there any way, for example, to trail stop if it's 50 pips in profit, move stop to so once the trailing stop is already running, I don't think there's a way to adjust it. I mean, there's probably other toolbars and other EAs that you can use for that, but from my understanding with FTMO toolbar, there's no way to adjust it once you're already in it. The only way to adjust it is to manually adjust your stop loss in profit. So as it pushes up, you just go ahead and slide it up even higher. So yeah, Ross said no, you cancel and reset it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so Ross said you would cancel and reset it. Yeah, John says he has an EA that can do that. So I'm sure there's other tools out there that can do what you guys want, like with regard to adjusting the stop loss like that, but I don't have a tool. I mean, I barely use EAs myself. The only EA I use is going to be the FTMO one. Yeah, E said up 50 pips, moves stop loss, 2 pips in profit or something, 20 pips. Yeah, but if the market's moving really fast, I don't think you're even going to want to touch it. Like if it's moving super fast in profit, like say you're at 50 pips in profit and then it moves up another 50, it's going to automatically move it already another 50. So you're going to be good regardless. So yeah, I mean, that's a cool tool. Like if you guys haven't used the quick trade manager for FTMO, You guys should probably try it out because it's a really good tool. It doesn't have like all the tools that you want, but it does. I think this trailing stop is really helped a lot because sometimes the market will move too fast and you won't be able to move your stop loss and profit, but this will do it automatically for you so that you guys have no problem. So let's see. Ruin said, "Got to run." Thank you, Sean. Hopefully everyone has a great weekend. Fed increases rates next week, Wednesday. Damn. Yeah. So with the Fed increase next week, it's probably going to be a bit rocky with regard to the market movement. So, all right, guys, I think that's about it. It's 7:45 right now. So if you guys have any other questions or if you guys have any concerns over the weekend, feel free to put your questions in the Telegram group or you can email me. Just keep in mind that I am on vacation right now in Texas, so I'm probably not going to check any. I'll be checking my email. So if it's like urgent, I'll check it. But if it's not urgent, I'll be back. I'm flying back like Sunday morning. So I'll be back pretty early. So if your questions don't get or your emails don't get responded to right away, don't worry. I probably saw it. I just didn't find it to be as urgent, like super urgent, right? But let's see. So anything else here? Definitely. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it. Hey, John said E. Let me know if you want to try the EA. Yeah. So if you guys want to try John's EA where you can like automatically adjust the trailing stop or anything like that, just hit up John in the group. John's an old member. You've probably seen him. John's been with K2 and with us trading for a long time now. So thanks, John. I appreciate you for sharing that tool. But all right, other than that, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Be safe. I'd recommend just don't trade, guys. I already closed my MT4. You guys saw my accidental trades right here. So I took a couple accidents, or just one accident, or 3 accidents in total, 1 bad one and 2 good ones. And it brought my account back in a profit, thankfully. I wasn't really aware of these trades. I accidentally took them because my tool is FTMO toolbar is just so big. If you guys have used it before, you guys know what I'm talking about. It just covers your entire left side of your MT4. So other than that, guys, a couple more profits here. Looks like Scotty took another sell or a couple of sells, locking a total profit of 1,735. So great work right there, Scotty. And other than that, I think that might be about it. So if you guys have more profits to post up, feel free to post up your profits. I'll try to post profits by later today. But other than that, guys, I think that's about it. So yeah, no, Ross said, good thing you had a trailing stop today. Yeah, no, definitely, Ross. Because the thing is, if I didn't have that trailing stop automatically, these trades would have still been running. So this buy would have still been running and this sell would have still been running too. I probably would have gone stopped out again on this buy because price ended up coming back down. Yeah, because this trade right here, this is when we were looking for the breakout. I accidentally hit it right there at 634. I took the buy. Oh, so it looks like I might have taken it midway here on accident. Damn. So it looks like it might have barely triggered my stop loss because my stop loss is set automatically at 500 pips. So it looks like my entry might have happened right here on accident, right there. It like literally just barely triggered the stop loss and then it swung up. So if it didn't trigger it, I would have been in profit because this is the entry point. I would have been in profit right here. It would have closed me out for maybe a 2,000 or 3,000 profit because it did push up. So that's my first accidental entry right there. My second accidental entry is going to be right here at 637, which was right here. My trailing stop is 200 pips. So thankfully it entered me right here at 637 and then it pushed up right here as it pulled back. So I probably got up to this point right here. It pulled back, stopped. It pulled me out in profit. That's for me at 1,000. And then right here for the sell at 655. They're at like random times here where these entries were taken at 655, which is going to be right here. So the accidental sell right here. This locked me in at least 2,280 pips. So like with that right there, it would have dropped down to right here as it pulled back, would have pulled me out. So it looks like I got in at optimal times, but they weren't on purpose. They're all like accidental trades. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, good thing I did have the trailing stop, but I'm probably gonna have to buy a third screen for my traveling, because this one screen here, it's not enough. I need to keep MT4 on a separate screen so I don't have those accidental clicks. But all right, guys, have a great weekend. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me or message me on Telegram. Otherwise, we'll be wrapping this up for the week, and we'll be picking back up on Monday for market open. So have a great weekend, guys. Be safe, and I will see you guys back here, same place.